words about myself. I'm Thomas, I'm a member of the global teaching team, but I'm based at HUK Institute. I'm a research associate at the Chair for Design Thinking Innovation Research. And it's nice to see that a lot of people are coming. So if you want to, feel free to use the sessions chat as well extensively. So let us know where you are from, what's your role as part of the Sugar Network. Are you a student? Are you a corporate partner? It's awesome to see, the first people are writing something. That is nice. That is nice. People are coming. And I can already see a lot of people in there. That is awesome. Yeah, all the students are writing as well. So I think that was a very nice introduction speech. Yeah, so with that being said, I would really welcome everyone at this track B of today's Sugar Fall presentation. So it's time for the students to present what they have learned so far over the work from the first year. They've done extensive user research, exploring the different areas of the challenges. And today we see 4 presentations here at this track from the student teams. 2 of them will start, so that is the team HUK and as well the PostFinance. And we do a short break, and afterwards we have team IBM, and last but not least our team from Takeda. So how will this session run? We always have a short presentation by the team, which will be around 7 minutes, and afterwards everyone has the chance to give some feedback. So there will be around 5-minute feedback session after each presentation. Make use of the session chat, provide the team with feedback, write down the questions that you have, things that pop up while you're listening to the presentations, and we'll also make use of the Google Forms that are provided in the chat to provide the team with some good feedback. Use the emotions in the session chat that, as Maya have explained, different ways how you can do that. The session link is also there, and feel free to raise questions that you have for the teams after every presentation. I will read them out and let the students know. And with that being said, I would say it's time to start, and I would ask Team HUK to the stage, and Team HUK will give the first presentation. It's a challenge provided by the HUK Coburg. HUK Coburg is a German-based insurance provider, and the teams that accepted the challenge comprises students from KIT Germany and HUK Institute. So I already see the students are coming up. Benedict, Jonathan, and Fabian. And with that being said, I hand over to you guys, and I'm curious to see your presentation.
Okay, Karim, can you share the screen?
Yes, 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
So then let's start. Hello, I'm Fabian from the KIT in Karlsruhe, and this is Jonathan from the HPI in Potsdam. And together with our corporate partner, the HUK Insurance, we want to find the right connection. This map here shows the availability of broadband internet in Germany. Dark spots show good availability, while light spots indicate a weaker connection. Let's look at Potsdam and Karlsruhe. Good connection, which is actually good for us, as we had a ton of video calls in the last months. And how's the connection in Coburg, where our partner, the HUK, is settled? It doesn't look that good. These days, a good connection enables the communication between each other. But that's always important, and especially when it comes to customer relations. To make your customer happy, you need to know what they want and communicate with them in the right way. Our partner, the HUK, with its 12 million customers, is one of the largest automotive insurers in Germany. In addition to the existing insurance portfolio, the HUK, together with its subsidiary, the HUK24, now wants to build an ecosystem that offers services to support their customers in their daily life. And as an insurer, you know a lot about your customers. And that's good in the first place, as you can provide them with personalized offers. And many customers are skeptical about their insurers due to the complexity of the product, but also because they simply don't want to deal with it. So the challenge for us is, how do we address a customer or generate a reason for addressing them so that they do not feel annoyed, but recognize the added value of our offer? But what needs do customers have regarding something they don't really want to deal with? To answer this, it's probably easiest to ask the user once in person. Our persona is Pragmatic Peter. He's an engineer in his mid-50s and father of 2 children. Let's call him.
Hey, Peter. Great you found some space in your closely timed week to talk with us about insurances.
Hey, of course. What do you want to know?
First, it would be interesting to talk about the touch points regarding your insurance.
Yeah, you're asking the right person. I actually take care of all my family's insurance policies. We have 2 cars, so 2 insurances for cars, our health insurance for me, my wife, and all my children, and then some more insurances. Managing these different insurances involves exchanging so many documents. This makes me so dependent on the information of my insurance company. I really do need a quick access way to my information.
Sounds like you're often in contact with your insurers. How do you communicate with them?
Well, it depends on the company, but mostly by mail or phone. For HUK.24, it's the website. And when I contact my insurance company, it is of most importance for me that my concerns are taken seriously. Also, I don't want to feel pressured into doing or buying anything. As insurances can get pretty complex, I often feel like I cannot comprehend all the different informations and support my decision that way.
So, understandably, you don't want to be forced to make a decision. A simple and transparent presentation of information is essential at this point. Thank you, Peter.
No worries.
Let's recap what Peter said. He doesn't want to spend too much time on his tasks. He wants support and responsiveness when interacting with his insurer, and he wants to feel free in his decisions. The question now is, how can we support Peter in his decisions when he interacts with his insurance without making him feel guided? Imagine a simple scenario. Peter is comparing insurances for his car and now wants to get an offer from the HUK.24. Therefore, he has to provide specific data in order to enable the HUK.24 to provide him with a pleasant offer. But Peter is chilling on the couch right now and doesn't want to go into the garage to get, for example, his vehicle registration certificate. Instead, he fills out the form, inserting random values for the unknown fields. He plays around with the form to get a rough estimate. And actually, many people do this. Can we do better? We came up with the following idea. Why not provide him with the estimated costs in real time? And as he enters more data, the price range diminishes. Additionally, he gets a concrete estimate as a prediction based on the data he already entered. Now, at HUK.24, the customer also benefits from several services. In this example, the related services for Peter are a tire change and an inspection at a partner garage. Since we know where Peter lives, we can determine and display a nearby partner garage. Based on the collected data, we can propose a concrete offer to him. To create transparency, we enable him to understand how the information was calculated. And if Peter doesn't like what is presented to him, because he may feel too screened, he can just deactivate the function easily.
So, but what did we learn from Best.min, our prototype? On the one hand, our interviewers liked the transparent visualization of the pricing criteria. But on the other hand, some interviewers felt even manipulated because the prototype suggests that they can save money with the right inputs, which is obviously not the case. So, and testers also perceive the prototype as a false advertisement for saving money, even though it is just a tool to get a quick estimate of what to expect. Best.min also seemed to be of great benefit when there are several optional fields during the process. Sometimes users report that it's often not worth filling out those fields since they do not have a significant effect on the resulting price. And regarding our further testing, we want to explore how people react when their inputs make the potential price range even worse. But for now, it's up to you. You can help us in make the communication between the HUK 24 and its customers more transparent. If you want, scan the QR code and leave your opinion to another one of our prototypes. And if you can't scan it right now, don't worry, we will also provide the link in the chat. So thank you for your attention, and hopefully we will see each other all live in March.
All right, thanks a lot for introducing us to this challenge, Team HUK, and it's very impressive to see the insights and the ideas that you've gained so far. So really very impressive. So please give us a big applause in the chat for this presentation, and make use of the emotions that were used. And then if you have any questions, feel also free to share these questions in the session chat. I think right now I can't see one, so I would have one, surprisingly. You introduced Peter to us, and like he's very passionate about it. And you mentioned the feeling that he's being persuaded sometimes by their insurance. Did you explore how other industries develop like less extrusive ways to convince customers of buying something? Did you check out other industries, what you can learn from them?
Yes, we did another way of convincing customers. I think everyone knows it, or you know it. It's if you shop on Amazon, there will always be this carousel on the page where they write something like, "Oh, other people also bought," which was a way for us to guide or persuade users to an interaction, or lead them on their side.
Also, what other industries also did, but which we did not focus as much, is that also a lot of industries like put effort into like the personal, like regular personal meetings with the customers to then talk with them and see where their personal benefit is.
Yeah.
So that they can build up trust.
I think that fully makes sense, and it's also a good thing that you guys can further explore. So maybe again, if there is anything that the audience can help you with, or if there's someone who think in the audience, hey, I have someone who the team should talk to, please get in contact with the team, share the links, or use the Google feedback form to provide some updates or knowledge to the team. Besides that, I think wonderful job from our Team HUK, and thanks for joining the stage. And I think then we can move on to our next team, and I warmly invite Team PostFinance. Team PostFinance is a collaboration between HPI and Linköping University. PostFinance itself is a Swiss-based financial service provider, and I'm curious to see the presentation of Team PostFinance. So welcome them on stage. Also in the session said, welcome, Lisa and Tanvir. So,
can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
And make Team PostFinance welcome in the chat.
Okay. Okay, so Samuel has technical issues, so I will start the presentation. Hello, guys, and welcome to our presentation. We would like to present to you our status of design thinking of the Design Thinking project, which is a collaboration among the Linköping University and the HPI Institute and our corporate partner, PostFinance. But before we start, a little bit about myself. My name is Teresa. I live in Germany, and I come from Germany, but I live in Sweden. And if I want to transfer money to my account, I used to use banking, but now if I need money fast, I use PayPal. And if I need a cheap exchange rate, I use TransferWise. So the same thing happened to more and more customers of PostFinance. So they are not using their service in international money transfer anymore. And this is particular for the market that has been disrupted by a growing number of competitors who are addressing the field. And this is how our challenge was designed. So how might we reinvent the international money transfer for Swiss customers in terms of simplicity, usability, reliability, and costs? To understand where the problems of the customers are and why the customers are more and more using other services, we conducted 40 qualitative interviews. So out of our interview data, we created 5 typical personas who behave very differently when it comes to international money transfer. And as an example, we want to introduce to you Antonio Keller, who is the father of Emma and a customer of PostFinance. And Emma is studying in Sweden and is dependent on the monetary support by her father. So as an example, we have a closer look at Antonio's customer journey we created out of our interview data to understand where the pain points are. So let us follow him through the process, sending Emma money to Sweden for her deposit for her apartment. So first he logs into eFinance, and then he chooses international money transfer, which he really likes so he can support his daughter even though she studies abroad. Then he needs to type in 3 pages of data about the transaction and the beneficiary, and here the worries are starting. So at this point, he already asks himself, what if I make a typing mistake? And then he checks the information, and he can see that the exchange rate is there, but he is not sure where the exchange rate is coming from and if it's even fair. So he wonders, where are the costs coming from? And after he sends the money, he just gets the information that the money is sent, but the process is not tracked. So Antonio is not sure if the money will arrive and the landlord's account at the landlord's account soon enough. And he asks himself, what happens with my money now? And well, now he's waiting, but it makes him really nervous, and he doesn't know if everything will work out. And yeah, he asks himself, who will help me if something goes wrong? I'm sure many of you can relate to this story. In our interviews, we found exactly that requirements and also those pain points. So out of 40 interviews, we had a top 3 of requirements, which is number 1, convenience and ease. Number 2 is the security and reliability. And number 3 are the costs. However, in the process, we came to the conclusion that often there are trade-offs. So for instance, it would be easy to use only one platform, but for people that want to feel control, they often check multiple services and the best option in terms of costs and speed. And a very secure platform will require identification, data checks, confirmations, which strips down on the simplicity of the tool. And the costs are, in any case, an underlying factor, and they should be justified and as low as possible. So this is why we started wondering, how can we find the best trade-off for Swiss customers? And in order to find that out, we had several tests, including a digital testing session with PostFinance employees representing the Swiss customer base. So to test the trade-offs of ease and control, we tried to create prototypes that would make the international money transfer process less manual. And first we developed the Transaction Nanny, which is an AI voice assistant that's kind of inspired by Siri and Alexa and co. And it could prevent typing mistakes and help users like Antonio who fear those kind of mistakes. And secondly, we created the rescue dog in order to test whether users would mistrust an easy one-click solution, which would send the money by simply accepting a request from the beneficiary. And this could then, however, reduce the control over the transferring process. So for security versus simplicity, we thought of functions that would bring more transparency into the process. So we first created the international money transfer trace, and we wanted to find out if a tracking option would give users the feeling of being in control. And this also correlates with Antonio's pain point of not knowing what happens to his money now. And an even more developed version is the international money transfer, the insured international money transfer, which would send multiple emails informing about the status of the transaction and reimbursing transaction costs if it was delayed. And this way, Antonio could feel safer when he has sent his money. But then on the other hand, of course, there's a lot of emails. So after the testing, we figured out a constellation of trade-offs, which is fitting to our persona, Antonio. And as you see, users like Antonio prefer one easy and convenient platform, which is at the same time very secure. And Antonios are usually not very cost sensitive, but the service should justify the costs and communicate that transparently. So for the next steps, we will dive even deeper into the specific behaviors of Swiss customers and which pricing options are the best for them in a trade-off with control, speed, transparency, and so on. And if there's maybe other options to monetize from a banking point of view. And we could imagine exploring technologies like AI, blockchain, and find more benchmarking opportunities. And our future considerations are very focused on finding our unicorn, so something that very differs from what is already out there. And we need to clearly understand the restrictions we have in terms of technical and legal points of view, but we also need to check whether we can stretch them a little bit, to move further. And last but not least, we need to create a user-centric product that will attract customers to our corporate partner. So on behalf of the global team, thank you for listening, and thank you especially to PostFinance for the great support and cooperation so far, and especially for the great workshop we could have with your employees as well.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Team PostFinance, and give a virtual applause in the chat. That was a wonderful presentation and a project that is located in an area that is disrupted right now by new fintechs and new startups that are challenging competitors, right? So I think there was a question in the chat, and I think that one that I will ask. What was the most surprising insight that you guys had along your journey?
I think it was very surprising that there are so different views on banking, and like there's like one dimension, the ease and cost trade-off.
Yeah.
That was really surprising for us, because like some people, and we expected most people want an easy solution, but some people just want to control everything. They want to have all the control. So that was really an insight.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, I mean, maybe connecting with that, you mentioned and introduced the first use case of a father like sending money to someone studying abroad. I know that use case from own experience. so what other use case did you explore in your challenge that are relevant? When are people using international money transfer?
We explored, we have, for example, a persona that's a real globetrotter. So someone who likes to travel a lot, also shop abroad, online shopping, stuff like that. We explored a persona that's an entrepreneur that's also working internationally. And we also had one digital nomad. We also have one person that's she's also Swiss, and we got the inspiration also from PostFinance studies, that she really likes to donate. So she has like something very valuable she uses her money for. And we explored like we said before, like 5 different personas that are very, very different in their needs.
And do you guys already have a feeling which one to follow, or still quite early in the process to do so, or favorite?
Well, all of them are very exciting. We are, for now, in the current state, suggest that the ones that are more on the easy, more traditional side are representing more the Swiss customers. So this is where our focus basically lies, and that's why we also introduced Antonio instead of the digital nomad that we had, because it's like more the Swiss customer base.
Yeah. So we mentioned right now the one side, like the person who's sending the money, but how about the other person? Who's the receiving person? Like the person that gets the money in the use cases.
Like I said, for example, organizations that are like charity organizations. We also have like general suppliers for the people that are working. So the digital nomad and the entrepreneur, it's suppliers for them.
Okay.
And for the globetrotter, which is, by the way, Emma, so she's actually one of our personas as well. So Emma is basically, she's just like using those little things abroad, but also she transfers money to herself.
Okay.
Because she's also Swiss studying abroad.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
Also from the receiver end, we saw that receivers, like the business transaction, they are also very keen to see where the money is, and they also want to find out the reliability of what the sender is saying. So we are going to test that as well. We have a prototype for that. So hopefully we'll find some answers.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So transparency seems to be an issue at this challenge as well, giving an overview about this complex challenge and process. All right, then thanks for the nice presentation, Takeda and Tanvir. Nice to see. I hope we guys meet each other back then on the next presentation. And I'm curious to see what kind of prototypes you guys came up with. To the audience, please give this team feedback, or if you are a person that is living abroad and you're using international money transfer services, please get in contact with the team, share your expertise, may it be good ones or also bad ones. And by doing that, I think you can advance the team's work and even provide a nicer and cooler project. And make sure that you also use our feedback form. The feedback form is provided in the chat, was just posted there. I think giving feedback on the things that the team can explore, maybe, or ideas, opportunities can advance this project as well. So let's move on with our next topic. So right now we have a short break. Right now that's the right point to do so. We will get back to the presentations from IBM and Takeda around 3 p.m. So make sure that you're back this time. And then in the meantime, I welcome Maya at the stage, and Maya and I will talk a little bit. Maya, what's your experience so far about the presentations?
I'm happy to see that every really hectic hour where Google was down was to find their way back to being excellent presenters and showing all these great results. And yeah, even though, so the adrenaline is a little bit down.
Yeah, true. I never experienced that actually before, that the Google server is down. Like what kind of an event? But yeah, like all these tools.
If others in the audience were impacted, I heard YouTube was down as well. Share with us if you had an eventful hour as well. In the meantime, Thomas, you are actually a HUK alumni as well, right?
That is true, Maya. You got me. Yeah, true. It's actually a long time ago, like 3 years now. So it was the year from 2017 to 2018. Yep. And then I was at the position, had the honor to give the presentation.
And you held the presentation in St. Gallen then?
Yeah. We had in St. Gallen in the Lok Remise. I don't know. That's like a nice location close to the central station in St. Gallen, Switzerland. So yeah, a long time ago. True.
And what was your project about? Did you?
Yeah, we had a project with the BMW group with Oliver Klages. I think he also was present the last years, and it was about manufacturing changes. So like quite a technical topic actually for like business students. We needed to explore how, like, BMW always, when they produce a new car, there's a ramp up going on, so they need to remanufacture the production line. And they wanted us to optimize this process because they were struggling on this process. And that was like quite challenging, especially in the beginning, because you can just not like go out and interview users. So you need to talk to different employees, and you struggle kind of to get a feeling for the different perceptions that the employees have about these kind of topics. But it was like kind of exciting because like new area, like the BMW was a nice company. We also had a really nice time with Jan Knau and Oliver Klages, our corporate liaisons.
Especially, I bet it was quite interesting to see all the different production lines. You probably saw other companies as well, and I mean, it's an area not so usual to do a student project in. So I think that was insightful as well.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like the first time, I think when we visited BMW, I think it was around October. But like, don't name me down on that one. Was quite exciting to see and walk through the production line when it's going, and like highly automated with all the robots from KUKA going around there and making like moves. That was for sure quite exciting. And then one team member even had the chance then to visit the assembly in Spartanburg. So BMW is producing a lot of cars there. That was quite nice, and we still, as a team, like we still met. So I would say all the student groups challenges are a time of bonding because of the intense collaboration. So we just went hiking actually this summer as a group. So.
Okay, that was actually an interesting bridge. I think we're we're about to go back into presentation mode, but yeah, that would be nice to hear more about now looking back what happened. But yeah, hello, ladies.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, all right, the first students are joining, Simon as well. Yeah.
Already?
Yep, you guys are online. I think, Maya, we will continue our chat then later in the networking session. So thanks for joining.
Nice.
For sure, welcome.
Okay,
and
guys,
then
I would say we are ready from my side.
Awesome. Then I briefly introduce you guys. So welcome on stage, Team IBM. Team IBM is working on the IBM Watson Client Center Challenge, if I'm informed well, and the team comes from KIT and Aalto University, if I'm right about it. And with that being said, everyone hopefully is back. Write down your questions that you have in the session set. And I welcome you guys on stage and curious about your presentation. So have fun.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So let's start with some pictures. Do you remember your last concert you went to before the pandemic hit? The nice atmosphere, the people you were with, and the favorite musicians that were on stage? Or the last trip you did with your friends and you experienced a good teamwork? Aren't events like the moon landing inspiring to all of us and make us believe in more? Well, we believe that behind all these great moments, there's one thing above all. That is human interaction and the right preparation. Hi, we are Paula and Katrin from the IBM team, and this is our fall presentation.
Hi, Katrin, could you maybe explain to the audience what these images have to do with IBM?
The challenge that IBM has given to us is about creating a unique and memorable experience. And we think that factors like human interaction play a key role in all experiences. The challenge is to reinvent the IBM Watson Center so that it enchants diverse customers, attracts business partners to co-innovate and co-create, and effectively support the IBM business.
But Katrin, what is the Watson Client Center exactly?
It is an experience center and the IBM flagship center for the EMEA region, where they bring their clients and present their technologies and use cases for AI, IoT, and cloud, and bring people together in order to co-create solutions and design thinking workshops. At least that's the theory. But somehow the Watson Center doesn't seem to fully exploit its potential. Why could that be? Let's have a look at the people who are involved in the Watson Center visit. First of all, we have the customers and prospects from the automotive, insurance, real estate, and public sector, the Watson Center consultants who prepare and conduct the visit, and sales, who is initially in contact with the clients. Today, we have two personas, a customer and a consultant with us who are going to present themselves now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Gregorich, and I'm the head of the Digital Transformation Department at an automotive supplier in Germany. We are currently looking for a partner to establish a new analytics and AI platform. Therefore, over the next few weeks, we want to watch several presentations at different companies, amongst others IBM, to see which partner we want to work with in the future. What I expect from the visit to the Watson Center is not just impressive facts and demonstrations, but first and foremost, an inspiring experience. I would like to really understand how my company can use IBM's AI and hybrid cloud technologies in order to meet our challenges, hence creating a long-term value for our company. Thank you, guys, and back to you.
Hey, I'm Stefan, and I'm a customer engagement leader at the IBM Watson Center. My task is to guide the visitors through the tour and tell them all the important things. But the problem is, before the visit starts, I often don't really know what the visitor is looking for, because I didn't have direct contact with him. That is the task of sales, but the communication can be complicated sometimes. This is the reason why I often just show our standard presentation, which is still pretty cool, but it is not really personalized to the visitor. Anyway, I still love this job and the atmosphere here, and I very much hope the visitor recognizes this.
Thank you very much, guys. So let's somehow visualize this information. The sales department is in contact with the potential customer who would like to have a tour at the Watson Client Center. Now, what does the customer need? From the persona description, we derived that he needs inspiration, an individualized visit, and added value. If the customer wishes to have a visit at the center, the sales department requests a visit. In that moment, sales is in contact with the Watson Center consultants that organize and carry out the tour. But the consultants, however, don't have any contact with the customer himself. During our research, we found out that the information the consultants receive from sales about the customer is often imprecise, but that information is used to create the agenda for the tour. Once the consultant creates an agenda draft, he sends it to sales, who sends it back to the customer. For that reason, the Watson Center consultant needs transparency in the communication with sales and reliability. Our prototype aims to facilitate the preparation of the Watson Center visit and ensure an inspiring and value-adding tour for the potential client. We want to provide an individualized tour adapted to the content the visitor wants to see and learn about, but considering the communication issues between the Watson Center employees and the sales department. Now, let's make use of IBM's own technologies. We would let artificial intelligence use information from sales and public data to create a visitor profile with personality insights and state-of-the-art technology in his industry sector. Based on the visitor profile, AI would create a topic and demo suggestion for the tour. In order to evaluate whether it is the right tour recommendation, the Watson Center staff would have a first conversation with the customer. After that, the AI assistant applies text or speech recognition and analyzes the customer's attitude towards the different topics and technologies. The Watson Center staff can then prepare accordingly and create an individualized agenda based on the preferences and the insights from the AI customer profile. We not only facilitate the preparation of the visit, but ensure that the visitor sees what he wants to see, as well as giving him information that he does not know he needs, like state-of-the-art technologies and insights on competitors. This prototype is just our first step to tackle the challenge of redesigning the center experience. Stay tuned to see how we address the other components of the customer journey, like awakening emotions and co-creation. And be sure to always put the customer in the focus during the entire customer journey. Thank you very much.
Awesome. A big thank you to this team IBM from Aalto University and KIT. So thanks very much for introducing us to the world of IBM. That was quite inspiring to think and feel what is IBM doing in these kind of conversations. So I would have one question. One thing that I was thinking about was if you guys could consider in any way character traits of personal types, because the topic that you addressed were like information exchange between different parties, right? IBM stuff on the other side, but also people that are coming to visit these kind of centers. And I could imagine that like customers entering this IBM Watson Center have different personality types and therefore would prefer different kind of questions as well. Could you consider that in a sense?
Yes, for sure. The idea behind the AI assistant is that as he creates a customer profile, the Watson Center consultant would get that help in order to create the perfect personalized tour. So of course, for different personalities, it would at the end be different tours that the customers or the visitors get.
Yeah.
And also the speech and text recognition could identify emotions from the customer when the Watson Center consultant is talking to him or writing to him. And that could also lead to conclusions about traits that are obviously very individual. So all kinds of people are going to the center. And also different positions have different traits. So it's very individual, and that would make it maybe possible to individualize that tour nevertheless.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting path that one could follow into this area. And like another thing that popped up to my mind was especially in these times of like global ongoing pandemic that we have. A lot of organizations probably needed to rearrange their sales processes, like relying on online interactions or coming up with online fairs and booth, whatever's out there. So did you analyze these kind of things, and if there's something you could learn out of this?
I mean, we have the different. We thought of it for sure. So we thought of the different options we have in order to enable the communication between sales and the Watson Center consultants, for example, or between the Watson Center consultants and the customer. That is pretty free. I mean, our suggestion would have been to conduct, like based on the customer profile, the Watson Center consultant would contact the customer, and it's free to him to decide whether he does that in a virtual meeting or via email. But of course, especially in these times, it's still the option is open to do that virtually.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, there are virtual representations of the IBM Watson Center. I don't know how this facilitation is going on like nowadays. Is the IBM Watson Center still in use? Or how do they deal with like this COVID situation? So are they doing everything online right now, or is there like everything that they want to show?
I mean, actually, they have, for example, the tour for the Watson Center. They offer that online. Yeah. So there is a virtual tour that every one of us could join.
They also have virtual workshops. So they're currently also working with their clients in virtual design thinking workshops, for example, and use tools like we do now, actually, because we're in a similar position, like Mural, and do like work with their clients on these platforms.
Yeah, it's true. This global pandemic puts us all in this similar situation, right? All right.
Thomas, one last thing from my side. We're still figuring out how we can really create emotions while using this digital collaboration. That will be still a huge part of our work. But until now, we didn't find any good solutions which really create the same experience we get through this walkthrough in the center. Yeah. But it's still one of the biggest topics of our work.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe it makes sense to explore how other industries as well deal with this challenge, because a lot of situations are affected right now, right? So but it's for sure very, very interesting, very, very insightful. With that being said, I mean, maybe we even have some knowledge and a lot of experience in the audience here as well. So I would encourage everyone that is listening to help the team, either share your contacts, your experience that you have, something that popped up in your mind, either by approaching the team directly via the direct messages or even at later stages, or by using our feedback form that we have provided. I think that one was posted already in the chat form, so that team can build on further insights, get new interview contacts, or test some prototypes with. So thanks very much, Team IBM, and I hope to see you at our next presentation, maybe already in person, but let's see. The situation looks right now, probably not, but yeah, let's see and find it out. With that being said, it's time for our next presentation, which is Team Takeda. Yeah, thank you. Which is Team Takeda. Team Takeda is composed of a challenge student team from Haskamp Institute and Stanford University. Takeda is an international Japan-based pharmaceutical company, and the team is presenting today. And you guys have 7 minutes time, so have fun, and I'll let you guys share the screen.
Okay.
You're welcome.
So thank you, Thomas, for your introduction. Welcome everyone to the presentation. We're Team Takeda, Stanford, and HPI, and we've been looking into Takeda's manufacturing process for plasma-derived therapies. But first things first, let's see what this is actually all about. Yeah, so meet Jennifer. She's here to your right. Jennifer suffers from an antibody deficiency. So that means that she lacks essential antibodies that her immune system needs to protect her from getting sick. So that's where Paul comes into play. He's a plasma donor. And what Takeda does is basically manufacture a medication from his blood plasma that then Jennifer can use to rebuild her immune system. So sounds great, but how does that all work actually? So what you here see is the manufacturing process in a nutshell. First, of course, Paul goes to a plasma collection center and he donates some of his plasma, and then it's shipped to Takeda, where it's like manufactured in a few steps. So you see these big vessels on the right. You can just imagine it a little bit like brewing beer in a super sanitized environment that is also controlled by the FDA. But yeah, this whole process would then last for 7 to 12 months, and eventually Jennifer would receive her medication in the end. So yeah, let's have a closer look into a day in a factory and how that could look like.
So all of these different process steps happen in the factory at Takeda, or actually also on multiple factories. And for all these process steps, there's a need of different chemicals or filters that you might need to do the process step. So there's an internal warehouse where manufacturing gets their supplies from. And these supplies then stem from outside of the factory located suppliers. And to make sure that this process runs smoothly, there is a supply chain manager. So let's look into how a life of a supply chain manager, a day of a supply chain manager might look like. So he starts his day by calling fractionation to say that they should start the process, and afterwards checks the computer system if there are still enough chemicals left. He sees that there's a lack of certain chemicals, so he calls the supply chain team to reach out to the suppliers if they might be able to, without delay, send this chemical. One of the suppliers eventually reaches back to the supply chain team, but he can only do this in a week. So the supply chain manager now has to reach out to the global network team that the factory might not keep up with this production promise because they are delayed. The supply chain manager now also has to call fractionation and purification to say that they should slow down their processes in order to not run out of this chemical. So to analyze the process overall, we see that pain points of the supply chain manager are missing tooling and a lot of needed manual communication by phone or via mail. He also has to investigate the impacts of certain errors and needs to know who to call to ensure a smooth process. So his need is live information on supply network, machine status, and the personnel inside the factory.
Yeah, so to tackle those issues, we built a few prototypes, and we would like to show you 2 of them today. This one is called Supply Meter, and it basically shows you the status of your deliveries. So here, for example, you see the filters. There's going to be 250 of them delivered, and there's a green line. So that means the delivery is on time, and it's going to be delivered on January 4th. So if a red line comes after that, that means that there's going to be a delay. So we showed this to some supply chain managers, and they told us that this would be already somewhat helpful, but they would wish to see the current inventory in the warehouse as well. Because what they really don't want is that, just imagine they would run out of some supplies, but they would just then realize that the next delivery is going to be delayed as well. So another feedback we got was that they actually built this once, but for one product in Excel, and for some reason it is not in use anymore today. So yeah, let's go to the second prototype. It's called Value Stream X. And this one basically gives you an overview of the whole manufacturing process on the top. You can just imagine this red square to be, for example, fractionation. So you would click on that and you see, oh, okay, there's a warning. This vessel runs on 30 degrees. So a manufacturing person would actually be able to teleoperate this machine with a little knob next to it. Yeah. So when we tested this prototype, we were told that this could help a lot to see errors much earlier than now. But they also wished to see the impact of an error. So for example, one impact could be a potential yield loss or a resulting manufacturing delay. So again, we were told that they built something like this in Excel in the past, but only for one manufacturing step. But yeah, as well, here they told us that it's not in use anymore. So what can we learn from this? Okay, so we saw that there is a general lack of overview over the whole process. It's very complicated to get the information you need. And we saw that it's beneficial for multiple stakeholders to have shared view as a common source of truth. Yeah, and another thing that we saw is that some of the prototypes already have been implemented on a smaller scope in the past, but they aren't really used anymore today. So looking into the future, we would like to keep on investigating in the communication structures as we did before and speak to even more stakeholders. But we also want to check out these past implementations and try to figure out why they never really took off and what we can learn from this for our next round of prototypes. Yeah, and finally, to wrap this all up, we of course don't want to lose track of the bigger picture here. It's our goal to make this whole manufacturing process a little easier, and thereby we would like to make sure that Jennifer, just like today, will reliably receive her medication in the future. So yeah, thanks for your attention. And we're open for questions now.
Awesome. A big round of virtual applause for Team Takeda. Well done, guys. So it seems like a tough nut to crack here that you guys have, also related to an internal challenge that is relevant here, right? Like, so I was asking myself, where do you guys have made like different experience, how it is to apply design thinking in such an environment, because you are not in direct contact with the end user, right? It's rather internal. What kind of things did you learn on that end?
Yeah, I feel like a few things would not completely apply to us from the human-centeredness in design, because we actually seem to have one dimension more. There's not only specific human needs, but there's also needs that come from a role in the organization from a person. So I feel like it took us a little bit of time to entangle that these are two different things, but that we have to look at them both.
Okay. Yeah, interestingly, like we had the same experience as already mentioned in our challenge, and it was like extremely what you said. There was another question in the chat that was coming up. How did you test your prototypes? Could you maybe give us some insights on that area?
Yes. So we basically showed them to the people we would test them with, and just go them through, like explain them, and just ask a few questions like, would this be helpful? Or yeah, if you would have like this on a screen, how would you feel about this?
Okay. So all online, if I got it correctly, then.
Yeah. I didn't meet anyone in person yet. Hopefully next year.
Yeah, hopefully that will get better at some point. There was a second question, and that relates to something that I had on my mind as well. Did you find interesting analogies for your challenge? Because I was also thinking in terms of optimizing supply chains is a topic that is like a thing that is in other industries relevant as well, right? Just keep in mind automotive. So did you already learn something in that area that you can transfer?
Yes, do you?
Yeah, so we try to get a lot of insights into processes in other sectors. So we looked at automotive, as you said, other pharma products, also a little bit tech industries, because they also have this clean room design. One really special thing about pharma is that it has really high regulatory overview, and that actually makes it a little bit different from other sectors. So we are currently in the state of trying to find out the problem, and then we can maybe look more localized in how are other sectors solving this specific problem, and not the whole supply chain topic.
That's true. I mean, for sure that the NDA and regulatory issues are a special challenge for you in the pharmacy as well, and something you need to consider. So quite exciting. I'm looking forward to see what you guys will come up with in the next presentation, and then moving a bit closer as well to the solution space. But that being said, again, a big applause for Team Takeda. Thank you for the nice presentation. And if there is someone in the audience that has relationships to this kind of topic or any experience Please let us know, share feedback with the team on the feedback form, or approach one of the students or one of the corporate partners as well. I think that could help the team's effort tremendously. With that being said, we are done in this track for all the presentations. So first of all, the big thank you goes out to all the student presentations that we have seen so far. It was really impressive what you guys have done over the past few months, and that you presented all these insights today, and really excited to see the different prototypes. And now I'm really, really excited to see what you guys are coming up with over the next few months. I would also thank all the chat facilitators, the corporate partners, the teaching team that makes this thing here run so smoothly. Please keep in mind that feedback is something we always appreciate. So write down the feedback form. We haven't mentioned it already a few times, but it's a special thing for us because it makes us better and the teams can help us to perform better. And so the feedback things are open until 3:30. So until then, you can give feedback. Afterwards, we'll analyze it and hand it over. So what is the next step on the agenda? Actually is networking. So we welcome everyone who's attending this session to move over to the networking point. There's a function in Hopin where you can get to know each other. Teaching team will be there, corporate partners, but also the students, so we can mingle a bit with each other and see who is here and learn from each other, discuss the different challenges and topics that were there. So use this opportunity to get to know and experience the Sugar Network in virtual person. Let's frame it like this. Afterwards, at 3:40, we have the Alumni Inspire last agenda point. Benedikt Liebig will share his insights as an alumni of this program as well. And afterwards, there's the opportunity for some hidden rooms where you guys can talk within the team, corporate partners, but also students, and reflect a bit on the day and what has happened and the great presentations that we have seen so far. So with that being said, I'll advise you guys to move over to the networking session, get to know each other, and we'll close this session, track B. That being said, so thanks again for everyone that participated, and it was wonderful to see you all here in this track and to listen to these presentations that being done, and then let's hop over to the networking track and see you later.